How you guys doing? I'm Chase with Polymaker. We're here to interview Evan. Evan, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into 3D printing and how you got involved in the space.
So I'm Evan, I'm 15, nice to meet y'all, but basically since I was a little child, I've loved to play Legos and engineer stuff, and then I came across 3D printing and it was like the greatest thing ever. Of course it was a little expensive back then, but the ability to create anything out of plastic you could ever want for so cheap and have it within a couple of hours just seemed amazing to me. So of course I would, want a 3D printer. I'd beg my parents to let me get one, and of course they would say no. Then a couple years later, the Ender 3 releases and I'm like, hey, this looks great. So I buy an Ender 3 and I've been modding it since. So it's kind of like my introduction to 3D printing.
What about 3D printing? Do you like more the technical aspect of it or the creativity piece, or both?
The way you can tie them both in, the way you can use a 3D printer to, work on the technical aspects and the creativity you can really get out of a 3D printer is really awesome.
Do you think you've learned a lot about just math, science, or other things in general by just working with 3D printers, software, etc.?
Yeah, I think I've learned a lot. Just learning how, how Clipper handles step processing pipelines and a little bit of static physics to, understand how to build a printer correctly really helped me out.
That's awesome. Well, keep printing, and we're happy you took the time to talk with us. Hey, Brooke, how you doing? So we're really interested to know kind of how 3D Supply headquarters got kind of started and what kind of the mission of the retail shop is.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So actually our parent company is Jamplast Inc. It's been around for 31 years, and they sell raw plastic materials to producers. So they decided to start an additive branch about 2 years ago. So that's when I came into the picture, and we've just been growing it ever since. It kind of started with an educational initiative and an industrial initiative. So we do a lot of R&D, a lot of rapid prototyping clients. From there, we decided to open a retail store, which was honestly kind of a last-minute idea right before the holidays.
Right, yeah.
It was crazy.
And you guys are in a mall, right?
Mall, yes.
Yeah. Right, so you have a lot of.
Who is in a mall? I can't believe this mall is busy. It's crazy, and we set up right next to Santa.
Yeah.
It was amazing, and we are still there.
So being in a mall, you get a lot of foot traffic from just normal people, right? Not people that are necessarily 3D printers.
No, so we have people that are, but then we have people walk in, they're like, what is this? And so we explain it to them, and by the time we're done explaining, they're walking out with a printer and filament, and their kids are just having the best time ever. So it's been really amazing to see that transition just from people just walking in.
Well, it's great that you're a catalyst for getting more people into 3D printing, and
especially kids.
Yeah, especially kids. So that we love to see that. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Going forward, what do you think about the industry and 3D printing in general, and kind of where it needs to go and kind of versus where it is?
Oh, that's a tough question. So a really multifaceted question.
Yeah.
So for us, what we can control and what our initiative is definitely education. So we just signed a lease on a new building that's going to
Congrats.
Thank you. We're very excited. Not only allow us to honestly get out of the mall so we can have a little bit more space. So we have a much larger retail situation. This will probably go into effect. We'll probably move in August at some point, and then we're gonna have a classroom in there. So we get asked all the time, do you do classes? And it ranges from, hey, I wanna get my kid into this, to hey, I retired and I just really need to learn more about this. So we're very excited to host field trips and just get everyone educated and let them kind of elevate their 3D printing game. So that's definitely our next initiative.
It sounds just like a very qualitative approach to 3D printing instead of transactional, which is sounds really awesome. So thank you so much for interviewing with us, and we look forward to visiting your store.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. Thank you so much.
So my name is Connor Reddington. I'm the sales and marketing manager and a mechanical engineer at Avid Product Development. We are a 3D printing service bureau here in Loveland, Colorado. So we're local to the Rocky Mountain RepRap Festival. We specialize in using the HP Multi-Jet Fusion 3D printing technology. So rather than like a filament or a resin, the HP uses a powder. So kind of like a flour or sugar. And then that powder is basically fused together layer by layer to ultimately create your part. The great thing about that is there's no support structure. Basically, once a build is done printing, you blow off all the extra powder and you're left with your final part.
What kind of motivated you to start this company, and what gaps do you feel like needed to be filled in 3D printing that you guys kind of came in to tackle?
So Avid was founded in 2012 as an engineering consulting company. So no 3D printing, just engineering consulting and engineering design services. And then in 2016, HP released the MJF platform, and we saw an opportunity to really build on the engineering consulting and actually provide real functional prototypes to the engineering customers that we were working with.
So you feel like a lot of people wanted to make these prints, but they may not have had the technical aptitude or the know-how for the right path to get them to fruition?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of different sides to it. Obviously, we're here where everybody is 3D printing, but a lot of people in their day job don't want to be, messing with build plates, messing with clogged nozzles, filament, whatever. They just, they send us an STL, we print that, and then we send them the final part.
Awesome.
And we're also using a technology that not everybody has access to. These machines are 6 figures to get up and running.
Right.
But you get amazing material properties, basically unconstrained design. You can print anything in any orientation. With just very simple post-processing.
It's awesome because a lot of people, they're not going to be able to have the capital to buy that kind of infrastructure just to maybe print 1 or 2 things that they need.
Yep.
So you kind of act as that great middle solution. So it's awesome. It's awesome.
And a lot of our customers do have FDM printers in their facility, but once they're kind of getting closer to maybe cutting tooling or want to do a soft launch, we can take the prototype that they've already made, help them scale up. Maybe we'll print 100 or 1,000, let them do like a kind of a case study sort of thing, or that can be their entire production run too. If they don't want to cut tooling, we can handle that bridge production for them.
It's awesome. It's really cool what you're doing, and the great feature here at the festival. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm Morgan. I run Hetamame. It's a company where I sell headphone kits. I ship all the parts that you need so you can manufacture and assemble your own headphones that sound really ridiculously good. So I got into that because I was tired of seeing all these like knickknacks, gadgets, doodads getting printed, and thought if somebody would design a product that could be 3D printed, then people can get elevated value out of their printers at home. The idea of like, can you ROI your printer by making a good product? That's what the headphones kind of really try to disrupt the hi-fi market, but also give people a lot of ability who have headphones. So that's the goal of this whole company.
I love the concept of getting value out of your printer and how much value your product delivers. So it's really awesome. How can people find your product?
Yeah, hetamame.com is the best place to go. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, everything as Hetamame. Feel free to reach out if you've built one. I love getting tagged in the builds and seeing what people come up with.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And just in the future, do you plan to stick with headphones, or do you plan to expand into other things?
Yeah, I've got a side of my brain that explores everything other than headphones, but I think that this is a special spot that needs some attention for the next little while, so I won't plug that other thing. It's been good.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and we'll send everybody to your site.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for being here and for working with me on some stuff. Yeah.
Hey guys, we're here today with Alex from Hack Club. Right now we will get to know Alex a little bit and kind of just tell us a little bit about Hack Club.
Awesome. So Hack Club is a nonprofit designed for teens to make cool projects. We have an online community of over 50,000 teenagers, and we run events, programs like hackathons, something called You Ship We Ships, where you can get grants to build stuff. We also just host events like AMAs. We hosted one with Tom Preston Werner the other week where he founded GitHub. So yeah.
So basically you act as kind of a way for teens to get involved in 3D printing, but other kinds of technology, software development, things like that.
Hack Club has actually historically been a software-based org. However, Hack Club has really expanded in the past year. If you're a coder, if you're an artist, or if you do hardware projects like the people here, Hack Club is the place for you.
What kind of resources do you provide these teens that are kind of joining Hack Club?
So one thing we provide are, we call them You Ship We Ship programs, where basically you shipped a project and we'll ship you something in return. So for example, these teenagers, they shipped a 3D printer design. I shipped them $300 in return, and then they shipped the actual built printer, and then I shipped them out here to Colorado, RMRRF.
Gotcha, that sounds cool. So you guys all kind of work together just to get the end result?
No, everyone built their own printers. Noah there, he built his printer completely solo. He's in 8th grade. It's not 50 teens making one small project. It's every teen is doing something genuinely substantial.
That's awesome. So what kind of filaments do you guys use for 3D printing, and why?
I don't know if you know this on the table, but it's entirely Polymaker. We ordered 12 Polymaker spools over here. A lot of the printers were built with Polymaker.
That's awesome that you like the product. What about Polymaker makes you want to choose it?
I like the color selection. Me personally, I've been using Polymaker for 3, 4, or 5 years at this point.
You feel like the batch consistency is good with the color?
Yeah, no, I never have an issue with it. Side story, one time I bought this $12 spool of ABS. It was the worst thing. I forgot.
Was that a Polymaker though?
No, it was
okay,
not.
Good. That's good. All right, well, thanks, Alex. We appreciate your time.
No worries. Awesome.
So, Tugboat 3D Printing is a business where we go into schools for free, and we teach the kids all about 3D printing, and we teach them how to model 3D prints on Tinkercad.
What do you really get out of kind of going in and coaching other teens and other youth about 3D printing? What drove you to do that?
We started it just because we wanted spread 3D printing in general, and then what kind of drives us to keep doing it is just the kids' enjoyment and stuff. It's really great when they learn how to do something, and then they like apply it to like real world situations and stuff.
Do you find that when people find out about it, they're amazed, like young guys, young kids, that they're shocked with what they can do with the 3D printer?
Yeah, so I think most young kids just like don't think much about it until they see one, and they're like, well, you can print all this stuff, right? Because you can print toys, you can do like all sorts of stuff, like
anything you can think of.
Really, yeah.
Well, that's awesome, guys. We'll keep printing, and we support you. Do you guys have a favorite filament that you guys use?
Yeah, the Polymaker. Sapphire blue. Yeah,
Sapphire blue. That's your favorite color.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
For 3D printing.
What made you pick Polymaker?
Honestly, it was like they were like great customer service last year. They like talked to us a lot, and this color, like from the beginning, that's been like Tugboat 3D printing color, and that's in like
your brand, your icon.
Yeah, so like, and Polymaker was like one of like the only companies that had like that exact color.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know wide color variety is definitely a focus of ours. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, and keep printing, guys.
All right, thank you so much.
Hey, Sean, how you doing?
Doing great, thank you.
Thank you for joining us here with Polymaker. Can you tell us a little bit about your company and kind of what you print?
Yeah, 3dshawn.com. I print a lot of different things, just any cute, fun little gadget. I like to make little flexi toys, things that bend or move.
How'd you get started? What was your first printer? How did you get started with this kind of genre?
My first printer, probably 12 years ago, was a rep wrap. I think it was called the Mondo.
Okay.
And it did not come with instructions, just a pile of parts.
Yeah? May have broken once or twice?
I don't think I ever got it working quite right. But
okay. But back then things were different.
Things were different. Now they come out of the box and they just work.
Right.
A couple screws and you're done.
It's become very seamless and very reliable industry, and the price points are excellent.
Yeah.
So what kind of filaments do you prefer to use, and kind of why?
I use a lot of different filaments. A lot of PLA though, PLA plus, a few silks from different.
Plus because you like to print fast, or?
I print fast all the time.
Yeah.
So, but it just depends on the color. Sometimes I can't get the color I want unless it's in a plus, or it just depends.
Where do you see 3D printing going in the short term, and kind of what do you think the industry needs that it doesn't have in particular?
I think it's come a long way. I mean, you can print things in color now, and you just hit a button, walk away. It doesn't take a lot of knowledge to do it. I think it's just going to keep stepping up. The quality's getting better. The lines are starting to disappear. People aren't sure if some things are 3D printed now, so it's coming a long way, and I think the potential is unlimited.
Yeah, it's a very exciting space. Thank you for joining us and sharing some of your experiences. And where can people go to buy your products again?
3dshawn.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you decide to make a business? What steps took you to create a business?
I just love doing this. It's so fun, and so I just keep printing and making more, and pretty soon I have too much. So I was like, what can I do with all this, And that's kind of what got me in. And I first came to the show and saw the 3D printing show, and I was hooked. After one time coming, I was like, I have to do this. So it allows me to keep printing fun stuff and just share it with others.
And one last question for me. What advice would you give to someone who wants to make a small business with 3D printing?
Well, first of all, don't give up. Keep at it. You will succeed if you put in the effort. And small steps, Just pick a small goal and work on that, and you'll get there.
My name's Jake at the KitK Kiln. We design assembly models, all kits. So none of our stuff requires a multi-material printer. It all prints in separate single color parts and then assembles after printing. It prints with no supports, and then assembly also does not require glue. The whole goal is to, create models that anybody with any printer can print and put together.
Wow, okay, so these work universally pretty much on anything.
Yeah, basically on any single printer that anybody has, even down to like an A1 Mini or like a Prusa Mini. Our bigger prop models, they fit on there, and then because you assemble it afterwards into parts. Yep.
Gotcha. So they don't need a big bed or some sophisticated multi-head printer, nothing like that.
No, nothing like that. Basically, any printer prints our stuff. Yep.
And where do you sell your products, or where can people get your designs?
Yeah, all of our files are on thangs.com. Our exclusive models are exclusively there, and then some of our free models can be found on sites like Printables and Maker World, things like that.
Awesome. Well, thanks. If you have any suggestions for people that are looking to get into the business of maybe starting a business around 3D printing, any kind of advice you could give them?
Yeah, it just takes time, I've been designing stuff since like 2019, and I've had my sites on file. I've had my files on sites for years, and it was just until like this last year it kind of picked up. So I'd say keep at it, keep in tune with what people want. I think one of the biggest things I've done is start a Discord community where I can connect with people. I've joined Polymaker's Discord, be able to connect with people and see what people want, see what people are into, and then design for that.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Keep printing.
Yeah, I appreciate it for sure.